We're back again to broach that taboo topic. This is My Period Stories. It's a hybrid show where we talk about issues surrounding periods, menstrual hygiene, menstrual health awareness, sexual reproductive health rights, and we bring you period stories of men and women all over the world. We're looking at periods and fighting fibroids today. I'm glad to be back. I'm Funke Treasure, and I welcome you, especially to My Period Stories. You're watching My Period Stories with me, Funke Treasure, and I have a guest with me today. It is an absolute pleasure to host her. She is an actress. She is a TV presenter. She's an advocate for culture. She is particularly passionate about our young ones understanding what it means to embrace their culture, to speak their languages. But she has this unique period story that we thought we should share with you. It's my pleasure to welcome Feyikemi to this program. Welcome here.
It's nice to be here.
Oh
my
God.
Period stories.
Oh my goodness. I am so thrilled to have you here today.
And I'm very happy to be here too.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
The other day we spoke about periods. We had this unending conversation about periods.
Exactly.
You had your own personal story to share. You had those of other people. I was just my jaw were just open for forever. Talk to me about your period story. That's what we're talking about today.
Menarche, right?
That's the first period.
My first period. I started at the age of 12. And it wasn't easy. Any day I want to start my period like this, the whole house, the whole world will know because of dysmenorrhea. I always had this painful period. Pain as in, it got to a stage I had to go to hospital to be taking injections, and not small pain. I'll be vomiting, running stool, going to the toilet for like 48 hours. I won't be able to take anything. Just be rolling on the floor. They said, take paracetamol, take aspirin, take this, take that. No drug worked for me until I started going to hospital and I was given injections. And it got to a stage, the injections did not work again on me. So I always look forward and dreaded those days because for now, I don't reach menopause. Thank God. It's over.
You know how many women just say, thank God.
Thank God it's over. I remember I missed one of my WAEC exams because of menstrual pain. We called it menstrual pain then. I was in school. I couldn't even stand up from the bed. And then they were giving me so many stories, once you start giving birth, that is the end of the pain. That's the end of dysmenorrhea and stuff like that. I remember a particular lady, because I attended an only girls' school, told me, Feyikemi, you better go and get pregnant. If you get pregnant, you abort it, the pain will go. I said, me? Hey, if you know my parents, if you know the home I came from. No, I could never do it. So it continued like that. I had to be managing the pain, till I got pregnant.
You're lucky.
I got married,
right,
and I got pregnant. But by the time I was 4 months gone, I started having pains again while I was pregnant. That was when I went to the hospital and I was told I had fibroid. So
That was at what age? Were you still in school?
no.
Okay, you had married.
I married.
Yeah.
I got married at 29. I
Okay.
got pregnant at 30.
It's such a favor.
For 17 years, I was in pain.
Gosh, for 17 years. What? Yeah, but you've already spoken to how painful that was, how stressful that was.
Yes.
Yes, and then you had your child, and then you had to deal with fibroids again, right?
Yes.
Talk to us about the fibroid experience.
The fibroid, that's another story entirely. Like I said, the impression we were given when we were younger was, once you start giving birth, the pains will go. But even while I was pregnant, I was in pain off and on hospital because of the fibroid and the baby. At the end of the day, I gave birth to my baby and the pain started all over again. Then the period was now associated with clots and I was bleeding too much. It got to a stage I was having these dizzy spells, and I think like 2 or 3 different times I fainted while I was in my period because the blood was just too much associated with big clots. That was a day.
Like those are chunks of
Yes,
coagulated blood.
exactly. That was the day I left the studio. I was rushing to the toilet and the pain was just like I was about to have a baby. I just stood on the corridor like this and I was bleeding all over the corridor. I was rushed to the clinic and the woman was asking me, "Are you pregnant?" I said no. But that's just my normal period. I was off and on hospital. I was told, you have to do surgery. And even if you do surgery, it's 50-50. The fibroid might come back.
It
And
usually
I
grows
was,
back,
yes. And I had only one child. I want to have more babies. So I just said, okay, leave it until I finish having my children. So it wasn't a very good experience I had.
So you ended up not doing any surgery at all.
I did not.
You are extremely fortunate, my sister. Extremely fortunate, because we had someone here who had to have a hysterectomy, meaning that she had to remove her womb.
Yes.
I know of people I've had a myomectomy, and I know of people who have also had hysterectomy without having a child at all. So they have no hope of having a child.
So.
And yeah, this is what some women go through. That's why I said you're one of the fortunate ones. So how did you deal with the clots, blood, the extreme bleeding? How did they normalize at the end of the day?
It did not. It did not.
You just lived with it.
I just
as they say, living with fibroid.
I just don't know how to explain, because for 2 days, every time I want to start my period is like I'm going to hell and coming back because of the intense when I say intense, it's like labor pain. So when I was in the labor room, it was like usual thing. I had another woman with me in the labor room. She was making noise, and I told her, "Please, madam, you're making." She said, "No, it's because it's my first." I said, "It is my first child too." She said, "But you're not crying, you're not shouting." I said, "I have shouted my own since yesterday, and I've been chanting my own for the past 17 years. So please stop shouting," until I gave birth. So it wasn't a nice experience for me, and it got to a stage I couldn't use sanitary towel again anymore. I couldn't use sanitary towel because under 30 minutes
it's soaked. So what were you using? Cloth?
Cloth. I couldn't even use cloth.
What were you using?
I was using diapers.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. It was
diapers.
that bad. Diapers. children diapers. That's what I was using. Because I bleed. I bleed a lot. By the time I finish my period on the 5th day, I'll be so anemic that I'll start using multivitamin all over again.
And then when you've regained, then you lose,
Yeah,
then
I'll
you
lose
regain.
it again. Yes.
How did you cope at the workplace? Because this is another thing when you have this sort of challenge.
Many a times, I was able to calculate my days. So I always like a day or two before or after. So I always take a break for those period. I always take a break. Maybe I'll ask somebody to take my shift or something, because I know that 48 hours, there's no way I can leave that house without fainting. The bleeding was too much.
This is one of the reasons why we advocate for menstrual leave, for, that organizations have menstrual leave policy for the female workers, and that also that our governments consider having it in our labor laws, because this is the sort of thing that some women deal with on a regular basis. If you weren't a shift worker with a very flexible work regime, how would you have coped?
I don't know.
So if you had a chance to meet with a government official,
okay,
and I'm sure that some of them are watching us at the moment, please speak to them about the need for menstrual leave.
I will advise every policy maker to listen to women. We are going through a lot. Aside the normal maternity leave, some of us are going through pains that we can't even share with the next person. You can't share because I've gotten over it. That's why I'm able to talk about it today. She asked if I was using clothes. Initially, I was using towels, face towels, these small children. I mean,
the face towels, yes.
The face towels. I was using face towels. It got to a stage I was having itches, infections, so I stopped using towels, because you will use it, to wash it, to dry it, and that was when we started. Like when I was 13, my mom said, "Oh, this is what we are using." So she cut some rags for me, and it got to a stage I wasn't using them anymore. But
because they were not absorbing it.
They were not absorbing, and I was bleeding.
And you started using diapers.
I started using diapers.
Please talk to our HR, because HR, they I don't want to say principalities, but they're the ones behind this sort of policies in the workplace. In the past, they'll tell us, but our grandmothers too bled and they had their periods. What's wrong with all of you making an issue out of it?
Maybe they didn't go through the pains that we went through. Then, by the age 16, 15, most of our grandmas, they're already married. But we had to go to school and, work before we got married. And some of us started childbearing at not very late anyway, but
in the past, people start at 20, 21, 23.
Even 16.
Yeah, so it's different.
16, 17, 18. My mom got married at 18. So many of them, then I want to say this thing. I don't know, maybe this thing is hereditary, because my mom too went through the same thing.
I can say the same thing for myself.
Our elder sister went through the same thing. And funny enough, our younger sister, that's my aunt, most of the time, she would just be going on the road and somebody would just say, "Pepper, Auntie, Ashoyin to stay." She said she doesn't.
Meaning that
she doesn't even feel anything. But we, oh Lord, the whole house, the whole dormitory, we know that Feyiti Bere, because I'll be crying, screaming, God, my legs, the thighs, your back, everywhere will be aching, intense, as if you are in the labor room. So please, governments or whoever, the policy makers, the decision makers, you have to do something for we women. I don't know if there is some, maybe pharmaceutical companies can come up with drugs that can ease the pain, but I don't know how we are going to do it. This coming generation should not go through what we went through. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Thank you very much. At this juncture, we'll just take a break. And when we come back, we return to the issue of menstrual leave, workplace policies, and how to get HR on our side in the advocacy for menstrual leave after this break. You're watching My Period Stories, and we've been talking about fighting fibroids. Our guest has been talking about our experience with menstrual pain, fibroids, and coping with it. And we got into the conversation about menstrual leave, about HR, understanding with women the need to identify with women with unusual periods, especially with period pains. So I'm coming back to Feyikemi Niyi-Layinka now. And so we return to HR. Every worker is afraid of HR because they have the yam and they have the knife.
Yes.
They can send you out of an organization without batting an eyelid. But this is about women, and a large number of women, suffer from menstrual pain. Again, there's a lot of silence around periods. The data is not there.
That's it. That's just it. Because the way we were brought up, we were brought up to look at menstruation as a dirty thing, like something like a taboo, that you should not discuss it, especially when you have male family members, even your dad. Don't let anybody know.
But why? How did we arrive at this?
I don't know.
Silence.
I don't know. But now we are trying to change the narrative. Feel free to talk to us. We are your mothers. And the children, they are changing now. They are changing the narrative. And we should... I want to appreciate media houses, television and radio, and even advertising
and
agencies and newspapers.
Yeah.
They are changing it. They are bringing it to the fore. And I want to commend you for this program too. Bringing it to the fore to let us know that it is not a dirty thing. It is not a taboo to talk about your period. Then talking about HR and admin and stuff.
Yes.
We want to appeal to them, because my own experience, I don't pray any of my children go through it.
Do you have girls?
I have girls.
Have they started the period?
Of course.
Do they have or do they not have?
My first daughter, but our pain is not as intense
Is yours
as mine.
Yeah.
But my second daughter, that one will just say,
It's like I've started. Not too sure.
Not too sure. But
Yeah.
my first daughter, my back, my leg will be rubbing. As you are rubbing the back, you are rubbing the leg, you are rubbing everywhere for her, because she too, she always have this dysmenorrhea. We need to do something. We need to, how do I say it?
Because they say that, because they say, have mercy on us.
Have mercy on us. It's nature. It's nature. It's not something we have power over. It's not something we can say, oh, we don't want to do it. Yeah. I know some people are taking injection that they don't want to have period for 5 years, but some of us, we cannot. I cannot take that kind of injection that maybe for the next 2 or 3 years I may not see my period. I cannot have it because I already have fibroid. And if this thing should now, all these hormones start working, maybe it will be worse. But I just want to appeal to them. They should look into it. Genuine cases, yes,
because then that's the thank goodness that you raised that as well.
Because I remember there was a day I left the studio, I was going home, I was driving, I was in intense pain, and it got to a stage I just had to park the car. I was crying, I was shouting. A policewoman just came and said, Madam, kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀? I said, me. He said, let's go and pariwo. I just look at her like this.
And she came to ask what the matter was.
And I said,
stomachache, and then is that why you're shouting?
Said, is that why you're shouting? I just look at her like, I was in tears, I was sweating. And she saw me and she was like, is that why you're shouting? I just look at her like this, that if only if you can take 1/10 of what I'm going through. So many of us, we need to show empathy. And sympathy towards those of us that have dysmenorrhea, menstrual pain, menstrual cramps. It's in grades, so some are just mild, but some like mine, you'll be running stool, you'll be vomiting for like 2 days. Nothing you take will stay in that your stomach. And such people, they can never be productive for that 48 hours.
So if you have an HR officer who doesn't have any such thing, she's wondering
maybe she can come and stay with me for like 24 hours. Then she will know what
which is why we need them to understand that period stories are different. As say, as our faces are different, that's how our period stories are different.
Exactly.
So this is an appeal to HR organization, the body of HR in Nigeria. It's already happening in Zambia. I had a conversation with the head of HR in HR Institute in Zambia, where they have a menstrual leave policy. I know that some Asian countries also have menstrual leave policy as well. I appeal, given this sort of story, there are people suffering from PCOS as well. There are people suffering from endometriosis as well. Exactly. Please let us consider menstrual leave policy for private organizations. We're speaking with governments in the same vein, state, local, and the federal. Let there be a policy, a comprehensive health policy for Nigeria that will incorporate menstrual leave for our women. Because indeed, some women can't cope, can't work at that time of the month. Thank you very much, Feyikemi Niyi-Layinka. Let's take another break and then we'll come back for closing. Right. It's been a pleasure having you on my
Thank
period
you.
stories today. I'm always thrilled when I have colleagues in the media, show up on the set to be part of this important conversation. Because as you have noted earlier, the media should be commended. I mean,
Yes.
in the past, we didn't have such traction for
Exactly.
World Menstrual Hygiene Day, but now the awareness is quite
advocating for
high
it,
now.
yes.
Yes. So I thank you too for identifying with us and with our goal to normalize period conversations, because once it's normalized, then we can begin to have open conversations like
Yes,
this.
yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We know you for Oleku. That's how we met you. The movie Oleku.
Oleku by Mainframes. Then.
Yes, back
Okay.
then. Are you
Yeah.
still acting?
Yes. I still act. I'm
But
even
you
going.
don't tell us about your acting jobs anymore. You're silent about them.
Because my broadcasting career took over after I got married. I just went fully into broadcasting. I've been juggling the two before I got married, but now I faced it. But once in a
Steady.
while, I go on movie location.
We want you on a big budget movie. We
No
want to
problem.
see you
Very
in
soon.
that. We want to see our Oleku star again.
Very soon. Thank you very
Please.
much.
Thank you
I really
so
feel
much.
honored to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The honor is mine. I feel honored to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much at home as well for watching my period stories with us here. The goal is to normalize period conversations. The outcome today for us will be fantastic when we begin to have HR managers and HR organizations and association identify with menstrual leave policy and make it a conversation that will translate into an actual policy in the workplace. Thank you again for watching. We'll be back next week. I'm Funke Treasure.